Power Mac here, discussing something that's somewhat of an ongoing issue for myself and just about anyone that carries knives, which is most of us that would be watching this video, I would think. What is the best small pocket knife, EDC, a user, something that you have in and out of your pocket all day long, and or opening envelopes, packages, boxes, whatever. And like most people, I've bought and traded and sold and given away different knives over time, and you're kind of always in the quest for the best knife as far as a user goes. You're always going to have knives you buy just for fun, or because you like them, or they're collectible, that kind of thing. You just want them. For whatever reason, and I'm not so much talking about that as I am talking about usable knives. Now for size comparison, I've got the Tenacious, because we pretty much all know this knife for the most part anyway, and so it's good to show size comparison. So you can see I'm talking generally really small blades here, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that my small EDC knives, I typically just drop them in my pocket. I sometimes clip them, and if I'm gonna use a pocket clip, I've got to have a really deep one. Another thing that's really important, weight. I want it to be really light. I think we'd all agree with that with a knife that we use a lot. It's nice to have a little heft to it if it's made of metal and things like that, but generally speaking, when it's in the pocket all day long, you get tired of feeling it bouncing around in there and banging into your leg and stuff, and so I want it light. Next thing is basically how you deploy the knife. I just really need a way to deploy the knife one-handed. That's just important to me. I know some people don't care about that, but so often at work, my left hand, I'm holding a box or I'm holding a package or something. I need to grab a knife, pull it out of my pocket, open it, do what I need to do. Then I need to get the knife put back away, so I want to be able to open it and close it one-handed. Here's an excellent little pocket knife. The late Boy Scout reviewed the Pizzota, and I just like the look of it. The price is right. It's a CRKT knife. It's good looking, thin, works well, and so I got it. I really like it, but for me it's basically a knife that's carried occasionally. I find it a little tricky to deploy one-handed. It's not bad. I put a lanyard on it, which helps. And so I like it, but it wouldn't be one of my number one carry knives. CRKT Fulcrum, I did like this one for a while. It's kind of a fun knife, fairly small but not tiny. Real easy to deploy one-handed and fairly easy to close one-handed. But it started cracking on the back here and chipping, and so I decided I'd just put it away for now. And so I don't carry this one as much. We tend to enjoy it and like to play with it, but it's not one that I carry a lot. Good knife though, for the money. Kershaw, of course, the OD series, we all know the Overdrive, OD1, OD2, this is the 2. Overall, I'd say this is one of my favorites. If you saw my clip modification video, I modified this one. It's typically just tip up, which is fine by most people want tip up. I just wanted to modify this one to let it ride tip down as well. But not a big issue either way. It's typically a knife I drop in my pocket. I can reach in. This one I can open and close one-handed. It's not assisted. So I really like that blade. You've got the Cat in Chicago. So it's just Chicago Spyderco. They just made them for a short time. You can't get them anymore. They've got the new one, the Balance, which seems very similar. It's got its ups and downs. I don't know that I'm gonna buy one of those. It's $100 and some odd. This was like, what, 30 bucks I think these were. Again, this one works really well. It's small, light. You can just drop it in the pocket. It's easy to open, easy to close. It's not assisted, but with that really big Spidey hole, it makes it fairly easy. I did modify this one to reduce the tension on the liner lock. I found it was way too strong. So there's that one. Benchmade Benchmite. This is mine. It's had some mild modifications, so it's easier to open and close one-handed. The levitator lock. My daughter just lost hers. It fell out of her pocket, so I may give her this one. If she watches this video, I'm sure she'll be bugging me about it. So that one's pretty good. No clip. It's basically a drop in the pocket, which again I like. That's more or less fine by me. I don't know, this one's okay, I guess. It's a little tricky to deploy though, one-handed. And then you've got automatics. Now this one's a little bit bigger. I don't know if I want to put it in the small. It's maybe a medium. I mean, I carry really large knives too, much bigger than the Tenacious, but they're typically for self-defense and never come out. This knife, I reviewed it before. Super fast, super lightweight. You can close it one hand. You do the on the leg thing, where you push it on your leg and close it. That's how I do it. An issue with autos, I want to cover that in another video. On the forums, I've had a lot of discussion about whether you should have them or not. They're scaring people. I don't know. We'll get into that some other time. But this knife's really nice. Again, it's just slightly big as far as being a really small. My wife carries this one a lot. She really likes it. Works well for her. And again, this one you can just drop in the pocket. Like most well-made automatics, they're quite safe. I'm not sure why people think they need to have locks and they're scared about them opening. I mean, that's not going to open just whacking and banging around in your pocket. You have to deliberately push that button. And then same thing, it locks up real well, like a well-made automatic. You have to really depress that to get it put back in. So I think they're pretty safe myself. A lot safer than some knives that, you know, might kind of, if the in-handle retention's not that good, which they sometimes aren't on a really small blade, then they could come open in your pocket. So it's nice if it locks closed real well. Okay, what have we looked at? Pretty much everything. The chive, I don't know if there's much I can say about that. As much as I love this knife, me and my daughter, we've had a few issues with it opening. If you bump that flipper just barely, and I've tried messing with the pivot screw and tightening it and loosening it, and essentially I finally just modified hers so she could carry it tip up. The Mighty Chive and Skellion, which many people, including myself, love a lot. It's one of the downside of those is they're tip down only, so I modified it to be tip up. And I've considered doing that with this one too, because if I'm going to carry this, I'm not real comfortable with just dropping this in the pocket because I have had it pop open. It takes hardly any pressure on that thing to pop it out of there. Awesome knife, but that's one issue. Got to be careful about, I guess. So it does have the lock, but I mean, honestly, how many of us really use the locks? It's just a pain. You want to be able to pull the little knife out, use it, put it back. So the locks to me are, not too sure about those. Oh, the Mighty SOG Flash Wand. Who doesn't love this? I have to admit, overall, it's probably my favorite EDC knife. I just haven't talked about it a lot, covered it a lot, discussed a lot, because it's not exciting to me anymore. It's not sexy to me anymore because I've had it for so long and it's always in my pocket. Probably just one of the best all-around small carry knives ever. It's small enough, I just drop it in my pocket and carry it that way. The retention's excellent, it never comes out. I super glued the lock the day I got it, and it stayed that way, and I've never had a problem with it. It deploys extremely easy one-handed, and you can close it one-handed fairly easy. At least I can do that. If you're a lefty, no problem, it works just as good. Locks up real nice for a small knife that weighs nothing, 1 point whatever ounces, 1.8. So I don't know, it's really hard to pick one, isn't it? But if you had to pick one, I think the Flash one would be the king of the small EDC blades. If you've watched Nut and Fancy, I'm sure most of you have, he certainly has high praise for it. And you know, I don't know why I didn't think of it. He signed my OD1. I showed that on a video previously. You can see his thing. He was there at the gun range, Impact Guns, and I had him sign that. I should have brought my Flash 1. I don't know why I didn't think about it, because he's the Flash 1 guy of all time. So anyway, if you're, you know, have your list of knives that you want to acquire and you haven't got this one yet and you want a good small pocket knife, I really have to give the highest praise to this one overall. As much as I really enjoy and love all the other ones, and I've really been enjoying this OD2, this is really where it's at. Get one of those first, and it's not expensive, $35-40 online. You know, this knife's awesome, but what are these things running up to 180 or something now? I mean, it's crazy for a small knife. But anyway, so that's my thoughts and opinions on some super small EDC blades. Power Mech out.